Good day, grade 8 students. Welcome to the fifth week of your modular distance learning. Again, I am Sir Argel Landicho, your Mathematics 8 teacher, and I am here to help you in answering your modules for the week 5 of your modular distance learning. Let's go. Yeah, so last Friday, you haven't received any activity sheet in Mathematics 8, and that is for the reason of um, self-learning module in Mathematics 8 are already available, and it was handed to you inside your envelope already in the distribution day on Friday. So from now on, we will be using this in understanding the most essential learning competencies in Mathematics 8. So again, let's start. So after going through this lesson, you are expected to write the linear equation ax plus by equals to c in the form of y equals mx plus b and vice versa. And graph a linear equation given any 2 points, the x and the y intercepts, and the slope and a point on the line. Okay, so these are the objectives. So let's go first with the first part of this lesson, changing the linear equation into variables from the standard form, which is the ax plus by equals to c, into the slope intercept form, which is the y equals mx plus b. Okay, always remember that in linear equation in two variables, there are two forms of equations that can be associated with it. The first one is the standard form. When you say standard form, it's ax plus by equals to c. A, B, and C stands for a constant number, or it's a number. Okay, A and B is a numerical coefficient while C is a constant. Okay, slope-intercept form naman is another form of linear equation used in algebra. It is in the form of y equals mx plus b. During the previous lessons that we have, if you remember, m stands for the slope. Okay, so b stands for the y-intercept. That's why it's slope-intercept form. And later on, we will go deeper on that. So before going with the topic, which is changing the linear equations into standard form to slope-intercept form and vice versa, it will be important for us to again recall the properties of equality, which was introduced to you when you were in grade 7. So these properties are very important and very vital in understanding algebra from grade 8 up to the higher mathematics. These are the addition property of equality and the multiplication property of equality, APE and MPE. Always remember this. So when we say addition property of equality, it states that adding the same number to each side of the equation gives us an equivalent equation. If A, B, and C are real numbers and A is equal to B, then A plus C is equal to B plus C, or A minus C is equal to C. So as you can see, with this statement, C was added on the both sides of the equation. Okay, so that will give you A is equal to B as the same as it is, or it can be A minus C, B minus C. It is still the same, A equals to B. Later on, mas madali yan maintindihan. And then let's go with the multiplication property of equality, which states that multiplying both sides of the equation with the same number gives us an equivalent equation. So it's just like the same, but this time, instead of using addition, we will be using multiplication. Okay? If A, B, and C are real numbers, then A equals to B, then A times C will be also equal to B times C, or A divided by C is equal to B divided by C. So with this one, you multiplied both sides with C, you divided both sides with C, and that's still equivalent to A. It's equal to B. Okay, so with that being said, let's start with example number 1. Okay, so this was written on your module. So makita nyo to dun sa inyong module. So we have the example, change y minus x is equal to 4 two slope-intercept form. Determine the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so we are given with the equation. Let me show you. So this is the equation y minus x is equal to 4. And we are asked to find the slope-intercept form or to change it to the slope-intercept form. So as we remember, ano ba ang slope-intercept form? So it is in the form of y is equal to mx plus b. So from y minus x is equal to 4, we have to make it y equals mx plus b. So how do we do it? We apply the APE and MPE if possible. If any is possible. So with this one, APE is possible. So always remember, in changing from standard form to slope-intercept form, since y is written at the right side of the equation, you have to always leave y at the left side of the equation. Okay, so always remember, dapat y lamang yung naroon sa left side of the equation and wala siya dapat kasamang any variable and any numerical coefficient. So with this one, it will be very easy for us since y is just y without any numerical coefficient. Now, we just have to get rid of negative x. So paano ba natin tatanggalin ang negative x? Using APE, we can add both sides of the equation to x or the positive x. So we can have negative x plus positive x that will give you 0. So you don't write 0 anymore in an equation. And adding it also on the left side or on the right side of the equation, it will give you x plus 4. So that's why it's written in orange for you to understand why did I use APE. So in some other cases, it is sometimes referred as to the transposition method, wherein instead of adding both sides of the equation with an x, you just transpose the x to the other side of the equation and it will become positive 4. So it's just the same. It will still give you y is equal to it will still give you y is equal to 4 plus y, 4 plus x, or just simply y is equal to x plus 4. So this will be your final answer. Y is equal to x plus 4. Sir, pakiulit nga po. So again, you were given with y minus x is equal to 4. How do you change it into the slope-intercept form or the y equals mx plus b? Okay, so simply you use the APE or the addition property of equality. You just add both sides of the equation with positive x, or you just simply use the transposition method. Okay, always leave y on the left side of the equation. So dapat walang kasama si y doon sa kabilang side of the equation. Dapat maiwanan lang siya doon. So ano bang kasama ni y dito? Negative x. So how do you get rid of negative x? Paano ba siya paalisin? You can use APE para mawala siya, or you can just use the transposition method. Pag inilipat mo yung negative x sa kabilang side, magiging positive x siya. And it will give you the y equals x plus 4. So meron ka na ngayong y equals mx plus b. Okay. So always remember na kapag simplified na yung right side of the equation mo, and kapag wala nang kasama yung y dun sa right side or left side of the equation, that gives you already the slope-intercept form. So now, since nakuha na natin siya, we can now go with the second one, which is determining the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so always remember that in y equals mx plus b, it signifies, m signifies the slope and b signifies, or it means the y-intercept. Okay, so that's very easy. So looking at the y equals x plus 4, since yung x muna para mahanap natin yung m nung mx plus b, hanapin mo muna yung x. So ito yung x. Now, looking at the x, what's the numerical coefficient of x? So, as you remember on your lesson when you were in grade 7, kapag ang variable ay walang kasamang numerical coefficient, automatically, the numerical coefficient is 1. So, with this 1, since walang kasama po ang x, meaning the numerical coefficient of x is 1, and looking at, again, at the formula, mx plus b, the m is equal to 1. And m stands for the slope. So, the slope is 1. And then the y-intercept is simply the constant behind or beside the x. So, that's positive 4. So, the y-intercept or b is equal to x plus 4. Okay? So, now let's go with the next one. Example number 2. So, you were given again with an equation 2x plus 3y equals to 9, and we have to change it into the slope-intercept form. Okay, so using the solution again, we have the given equation 2x plus 3y equals to 9, and using APE, kailangan po, ano nga po ulit ang sabi ko, kailangan, since hinahanap natin ay y equals m x plus b, kailangan maiwanan si y sa unang or sa right side of the equation. So, dapat ang may iwanan po dito sa left side of the equation ay si y lamang. So, kung may kasama siyang x, tanggalin mo yon. So, that's the first step, ano po, in finding or in changing. So, you have to get rid of the x. So, you have to transpose x doon sa kabilang side. So, using APE, again, using APE, we can, since we have 2x, positive x, ano ba makakapagpasiro sa kanya? Negative 2x. So, you have to subtract both sides of the equation with negative 2x. So, yan, yung naka-orange na yan. So, you have 2x minus 2x, that will be what will give you 0. Plus 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 9. Okay, or simply transpose 2x sa kabilang side. Pag tinranspose mo yung 2x, ang kalalabasan niya ay negative 2x kasi inilipat mo siya. Or just simply use APE. Okay, so now with that, ano ang natira dito sa left side natin? 3y equals negative 2x plus 9. Sir, pwede na po ba yun since ang nasa labas naman natin ay y na, or nasa left side naman natin ay y na? Okay, so since looking again at the slope-intercept form, dapat siya ay y equals mx plus b. Hindi naman sinabing ay, by, 3y, 2y, 4y. Ang sinabi niya is y lamang. Y equals mx plus b. So, kailangan y lamang yung matitira. Ay sir, paano ko po maalis yung 3? Okay, so looking at the relationship of 3 and y, okay, so you have 3 and y. Ano bang meron sa kanila? So if you just looking at the relationship of this, it will give you 3 times y. Diba ganun yun? 3 times y or 3y. So para mawala yung 3, ano ba ang kabaliktaran ng 3 times y? So you have to, ano kabaliktaran ng multiplication? It is division. So you have to divide both sides with the numerical coefficient of y. Or you can use MPE with 1/3 times 3y, or both sides multiply it by 3y, or just simply, ito, I think this one's the easiest. Look at the numerical coefficient. Easier. So, look at the numerical coefficient. So, the numerical coefficient of y is 3. Divide mo lang both sides of the equation with 3 para makancel mo yung 3. So, matitira mo na lang is y, kasi 3y divided by 3 is y. Equals negative 2x plus 9, divide mo yun sa 3. Okay, sir, paano po yun i-divide? So, negative 2x, isa-isahin mo muna. Ito muna. Negative 2x divided by 3. So, wala naman tayong pwedeng igawin pa doon. So, you have negative 2/3 x na lang. Plus, so ito naman, 9 divided by 3. O, divide mo yun. So, that will give you positive 3 kasi 9 divided 3 is positive 3. Now, look at the resulting equation. You now have y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 3. And that is your slope-intercept form of 2x plus 3y is equal to 9. Remember, they are just equivalent. They are just of different forms. Now, so looking at them, looking at the equation or the resulting equation or the slope-intercept form of the linear equation, what's the slope? So you have y equals mx plus b. Sa mx plus b, alin ba doon ang slope? It is m, yung katabi ng x. So, y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. Ano ang katabi ng x? Negative 2/3. So, that is your slope. What about the y-intercept? So, the y-intercept is the constant. It's the b in the equation. So, that is 3. Clear? So, I hope it's clear because here is learning task number 1. Okay, so in your learning task number 1 on your page, on your self-learning module page 24, okay, so it's just the same. That's like what we did. So you just have to change the given equations 1 to 5 into their slope-intercept form or the y equals mx plus b. And you will determine the slope, the m, and the y-intercept or the b. So again, given ka ng equations 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, i-change mo sila into its y equals mx plus b form or the slope-intercept form. Gayahin lang kung paano yung ginawa ko natin doon sa examples number 1, example number 2. As easy as that. Saan isusulat? Sa isang pirasong papel. Okay? Saan po isusulat? Sa isang pirasong papel. May insekto, hindi yung multo. Okay. Let's go with graphing linear equation in two variables. Okay, so again, this is the part 2 of your learning task for this week. Okay, so graphing linear equation in two variables. So how do we graph linear equations? So there are 3 forms or there are 3 conditions in graphing linear equation in two variables. It depends upon what is given. So the first one, if there is a given 2 points. Okay? Kapag given ka ng 2 points, madali ka makakapag-graph ng isang line. Ano po? So as you remember dun sa previous lesson natin, I asked you how to graph points on the Cartesian plane. Now, how do we graph a line? Okay, so line po ito, line, using 2 points. Simple lang, graph mo lang yung 2 points, connect mo lang, that's your linear equation. Okay, that's the graph of your linear equation. So, let's say for example, you have here points 5 and 0 and 0 and 1, and then you're asked to graph or to sketch the graph of it, and then find the slope of the line containing these 2 points. So, simply, madaling-madali lang ito sa inyo. So, you have 5 and 0. Paano ba yun? Count ka lang ng 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then 0, will I move up or down? Hindi na po kasi 0 nga po siya. And then, next we have 0 and 1. So, 0, will I move left or right? Hindi na po. So, it's just up or down. 1. So, 1 move up. Okay? So, yun lang yun. And then, since na-graph mo na, na-plot mo na, connect mo lang yung dots. That's the graph of your line. Okay? So, always remember, if you're given with any 2 points, that's as easy as that. Okay? Now, another thing is you have to find the slope na ginawa na rin natin before. Ano po? Okay. So, the slope is, to find the slope of a line using any 2 points, you just have to use the formula. The slope is equal to the y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Ulitin lang natin yung pinag-aralan natin before. Alin ba dito? Itong 5 and 0, ang 5, yun yung x sub 1, yung 0, yung x sub 2. Okay? And then, 0 is y sub 1, and then 1 is y sub 2. 1 is y sub 2. Okay, let's substitute mo lang, and then you will get negative 1 over 5. Okay, so with that being said, with idea, you can also write the equation of the line. Okay, so with that, you have your slope, which is negative 1 over 5, and the y-intercept as the 1. So, sir, paano ko po nakuha yung y-intercept? Okay, later on you will be introduced with that, but since it's needed here, I will introduce it to you. When we say y-intercept, okay, it is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. Again, when we say the y-intercept, it's the point on the y-axis where the line crosses it. Ibig sabihin, ito yung point sa line kung saan tumama ito doon sa y-axis. So, ang y-axis natin na ito, anong point ba yung tumama dun sa y-axis? Ito po yun. At yun yung 0, 1, or simply 1. So, that's your y-intercept. So, using the formula y equals mx plus b, you can write y equals negative 1/5. Okay, yun yung ating slope. X plus 1. Let's go with given the x and the y intercepts. Okay, so ito na nga yun. So before going with that, let's first define the x and the y intercepts. When we say x intercept, it is the point on the line which crosses the x axis. When we say y intercept, it's the point on the line which crosses the y axis. Okay? So very basic lamang po yun. Ano po? So, let's say for example this one. Find the x and y intercepts of 2x plus y is equal to 4. And then, let's try to graph or sketch the graph of this. Okay, so you were given with this one. So, to find the x and the y intercept, very easy lang. Pag hinahanap mo yung x intercept, gawin mong 0 yung y. And then solve for x. Okay? Pag hinahanap mo naman yung y intercept, gawin mong 0 yung y. Sorry, pag ginaganap mo yung y-intercept, gawin mong 0 yung x and then solve for y. Okay, let's say for example, with this one, the equation 2x plus y equals to 4. Okay, so hanapin natin ang y-intercept. Pag hinanap mo yung y-intercept, gagawin mong 0 yung x. Ayan na yun. So, you have 2x, so magiging 2 times 0 plus y is equal to 4. Okay? And then solve for y. Since 2 times 0 is 0, pwede mo na siyang i-cancel. You will get y equals to 4. So, ang iyong y-intercept will be a point. So, it must be an ordered pair. 0 and 4. Okay? Next, if y is equal to 0, kasi ang hinahanap natin ay x-intercept. Okay, so pag x-intercept, ang gagawin mong 0 ay yung y. So, you have 2x plus 0. Sir, saan galing yung 0? Yung y ay gagawin mong 0. That's it. So, you will get 2x plus 0 or just simply 2x is equal to 4. And then you will get, since using the MPE, 2x or divide both sides by 2, you will get x is equal to 4 divided 2, which is 2. So, your x-intercept is 2, 0. And then, plot natin siya. So, you have 0 and 4 in the y-intercept. So, nasa y yun. Jump ka lang ng 4. And then, you will get this. And then, the x-intercept is, nandito yun. Jump ka lang ng 2. This is that one. Easy. Okay? Kapag ka ang given sa'yo equation, hahanapin mo muna yung x and the y-intercept. Pero kung ang given naman sa'yo x and y-intercept mo, diretso sketch ka na lang ng graph. Let's go with the last condition. The slope or given ka ng slope and the point on the line. Okay, so if you're given with the slope and the point lang on the line, so to graph this, you just have to plot the given point first. Okay, so let's say for example, okay? So, ang given point mo dito ay, syempre, yung ordered pair. Negative 3 and negative 2. Negative 3, negative 2. Ito po yun. Left mo na lang yan. Now, sir, paano ko makakabuo ng line? Makakabuo ng line dyan. Simple lang. Hanapin mo naman yung slope. Ano po? So, you have the slope 2. Do you remember as we define slope as the rise over the run? Rise over run, rise over run. Now, kapag ang given mo ay whole number na slope, matik, you must already know that the denominator of any whole number is 1 if you will convert it into a fraction, simple fraction. So, you have the rise 2 and then the run 1. So, the rise daw po ay 2. So, from here, rise ka ng 2. Ibig sabihin, rise. Umakit ka ng 2 points. So, 1, 2. And then, what's your run? Ang run mo ay 1. Positive ba siya or negative? Positive po. So, pag positive, going right yan. So, 1. So, that will be your point. Ito po yun. So, you have 1 or negative 2, 0. That is your next point. And then, connect mo lang. That will be the graph of the line. Okay? So, those are the 3 conditions in graphing a linear equation into variables. Okay, so with that, let's go again with the learning task number 3. We skipped the learning task number 2 since it's just a repetition of what you did in learning task number 1. So, learning task number 3, very basic lamang ito. You were given with the 3 conditions, 2 points, intercepts, the slope, and a point. Now, with that given, you have to graph each given on a graphing paper. Okay, using your graphing paper. So, let's say for example, letter A. Okay, so in letter A, gamit yung 2 points na ito, you just have to graph the line. So, pag na-plot mo na yung first point, the second point, connect mo lang, that's your line. And then, you have to find the slope of each line. Sir, sa isang graphing paper lang po ba ito? Sa isang Cartesian plane lamang po? Okay, so to make it clear, ano po, you can use one graphing paper for each letter. So, letter A, letter B, letter C, 3 graphing paper ang gagamitin mo. And then, sir, ilang Cartesian plane po ang gagamitin ko? So, sa letter A, since 4 yan, 4 na Cartesian plane. Sir, malalaking Cartesian plane po ba yun? Pwedeng hindi na. Okay, so you have your graphing paper, fold it into 4. So, you can have 4 equal sides. So, that will be for letter A. Okay, so number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Okay, so ganun po ang inyong pag-graph noon. Ano po? And then, using the intercepts, same lang din to. Madaling-madali na ito kasi you were not given with equation. You were only given with the intercepts na. Ano po? So, another graphing paper or doon sa likod nung kanina. Tigi-tigisang Cartesian plane, bawat isang number, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, letter C, using a slope and the point. Kagaya lang din noong kanina. Kung nahihirapan, pwede nyo namang scroll pabalik para makita nyo kung paano ulit. Ano po? So, ilan ito? 4 po ulit. So, isang graphing paper, 4 na Cartesian plane. Okay. Gets? Clear? Pag nahihirapan sa bawat letter, sa bawat conditions, balikan yung discussion. Okay po. And that's it. So, congratulations, grade 8, for making up to this part. So, good job, grade 8. So, again, that's your week 5 of your modular distance learning. I hope this video helped you in understanding your lesson. So, again, I'm Sir Arjel Landicho saying you will enjoy mathematics. Goodbye.